So the 2025 NFL schedule is officially out. We've known the opponents that the Lions would play for a while now, but now we officially know when those games will take place, when the bye week is, how many primetime games there are, and etc., etc. So welcome in everyone. If you're new here, my name is Zach Payne, and if you're returning, welcome back. Today we are going to be breaking down the Detroit Lions 2025 schedule, but just before we could get into that, if I could get you to hit that like button and subscribe with notifications turned on. This is a very small channel, so if you could take 5 seconds to do those 3 things, it would really help the channel grow. But without further ado, let's not waste any time and let's just jump right into it. Now, first things first, the Lions, as I'm assuming you know by now, have an extra preseason game because they are appearing in the Hall of Fame game on July 31st, which is just wrong. Football in July. No, don't like that. But anyways, we're not here for preseason stuff. Let's get into what we're actually here for. Week 1, Lions at Packers. Starting off with a bang. The Lions and Packers rivalry has been rather one-sided over the last 3 years, with the Lions winning 5 of those matchups, including all 3 in Lambeau Field. The Packers are going to obviously look to reverse that trend as they have higher aspirations of winning the North as opposed to letting the Lions win it every year, as that has suddenly become reality. This is a weird timeline, but I like it. But this is going to be a fun game to start the year. The Packers have a bit of an inexperienced interior offensive line, and they're going to be matched up with Lions first round pick Tyleik Williams in his first career game. So that is going to be a fun matchup in the trenches to start the season. The Packers also have rookie wide receiver Matthew Golden, who hopes to bolster their passing game. And overall, this should be a fun one. It's going to be in the afternoon slot to start this one, so we can all watch the morning slate before we get into the Lions game. So should be a ton of fun. But it is noteworthy that this is the first time in 3 years that the Lions' first game of the season is not in a primetime slot, despite it still being a nationally televised game, not a primetime slot, so we're reversing trends a little bit. Week 2, Bears at Lions. Ben Johnson returns to Detroit with his new look offense, new look team as his second game as head coach. He looks to set the tone for a new era of Chicago football by beating his mentor in Dan Campbell, while the Lions look to hopefully continue beating up on the city of Chicago. Now, the interesting part of this matchup is that the Bears have done a lot of work to rework their offense, and now it's all on Caleb Williams. He had a pretty decent rookie season, but by no means was spectacular, and now he doesn't have any excuses. Everything is in place for him. It's on him to take a step and elevate his play so that the Bears can be more competitive this year. Week 3, Lions at Ravens. Now, the last time the Lions went into Baltimore, it didn't go well. That was the last time the Lions have truly been blown out. That game was a disaster a few years ago, and Detroit will not be short on motivation to avenge that loss and just put forth a better effort in general. But it is worth noting that regular season Lamar Jackson is a perennial MVP candidate and one of the best players in the entire league, so it's by no means going to be an easy matchup, and Jackson also has like one of the most ridiculous records versus the NFC in the entire league as well. So this will be a tilt between two juggernauts. Week 4, Browns at Lions. So this is the stretch of AFC North games in the early going of the season, and this is the first game that the Lions, like, you can pencil this down as a Lions probable win, and the most important thing of this game is that Lions fans are going to try their best to make sure Myles Garrett does not leave on the plane afterwards, because that's been a rumor and a desire of Lions fans for a long time. But yeah, this is one the Lions should win. Week 5, Lions at Bengals. Man, this has potential to be one of the most underratedly fun games of the entire season. The Bengals boast arguably the best pure passing attack in the entire league, and the Lions' young secondary is going to be tested. This is going to be the biggest early season test for Terrion Arnold, as his sophomore season, this will be the first key indicator of how much has he developed, as he will probably be matched up with T. Higgins most of the day. It is going to be a good game, and I'm looking forward to this one, honestly. This will be a ton of fun. Week 6, Lions at Chiefs. A rematch of the season opener from a few years ago. This will be the Lions' first primetime game of the year, as this is on Sunday Night Football. And we will have to see if Jared Goff can maintain his unbeaten streak versus Patrick Mahomes. Granted, he's only 2-0, I think, but he's still unbeaten, so we'll see if that keeps going. This, again, matchup of two absolute juggernauts. This will be a fun one. Week 7, Buccaneers at Lions. Another primetime game as the Lions get a Monday Night Football game against the Buccaneers, who have given them some troubles over the years. Of course, the divisional round a couple of years ago was a very competitive game, came down to the final drive. And then last year in the Lions' second game of the season, week 2, the Bucs actually beat them. They beat them 20-16. So hopefully the Lions' red zone offense won't be nearly as horrifying and they can pick up a win going into the bye. Seriously, man, that week 2 game last year was so brutal. Week 8, bye week. Honestly, a decent spot for the bye week. It's by no means the disaster that the early season bye, I think it was week 5 last year, was. It was horrible. I'll still envy the teams that have a week 11 or 12 bye week, but this is pretty decent. The big story here, though, is going to be that Alim McNeill, we are expecting, is going to be out for the first 2 or so months of the season. So the week 8 bye could be a decent benchmark for when we could see him come back to action. Maybe they time it so his activation window, the 3 weeks, expires when the bye week hits, so that he essentially gets a 4th week to ramp up with the physicality and practice and whatnot before he takes the field. I'm not sure, but that is, looking at it, projecting it right now, that's the one thing I'm looking for. But obviously injuries will happen throughout the season. So having a middle of the season bye week, or as close to the middle of the season as you can get, I'll take it. Week 9, Vikings at Lions. By this point, we will probably have a better understanding of what JJ McCarthy is and what he brings to this Vikings offense, but this is going to be a very bitter rivalry game. There's a lot of hatred in this matchup, especially with the fans. Vikings and Lions fans probably have the most toxic rivalry online right now. It's absolutely brutal, but this is, as always, going to be a very important divisional matchup, and we will see if the Vikings have learned how to stop Jahmyr Gibbs. Week 10, Lions at Commanders. A rematch of the divisional round from last year that we do not talk about. The Lions, once again, will not be short on motivation heading into this one. It will be fascinating to see if they will be able to stop Jayden Daniels this time around and actually beat a team that they should be able to beat. And also, maybe don't throw 5 interceptions as a team. Might help. Week 11, Lions at Eagles. Another primetime tilt between two probable superpowers in the NFC. This has the potential to be the matchup of the 2 best rosters in football, depending on where both teams are at. And hopefully it's that, as opposed to the Lions 49ers game last year, which was supposed to be a tilt for the potential number 1 seed, and instead it turned into just 2 teams going in different directions. But depending on how things shape up, this could be a potential NFC Championship preview. It could have a big factor in who the number 1 seed is. Again, completely depends on where both teams are at, but this should be a ton of fun. Week 12, Giants at Lions. This is another one like the Browns game that we can loosely jot down as a win for the Lions, unless Jackson Dart is just absolutely unbelievable his rookie season. This is one that, when you're looking at the schedule, there's very few games that you can just put down as a W. This is one that we might be looking at one of the only blowouts of the season. Week 13, Packers at Lions. The annual Thanksgiving Day game, the Packers are heading to Detroit to take on the Lions. Now, I mentioned earlier that the Lions-Packers rivalry has been a bit one-sided over the past few years, except for one outlier, and that was Thanksgiving 2 years ago, in which the Packers really took it to the Lions. They beat them on their home turf. Now we'll see if the Lions will be able to avenge that loss. If you had to choose which Packers game to win, you probably choose Thanksgiving, but obviously you want to win both. But the Lions were able to break the Thanksgiving Day curse against the Bears last year thanks to the ultimate lull Bears moment. But they'll have to put together a better effort against the Packers on Thanksgiving this year, because the Packers are just a better team than last year's Bears were. Week 14, Cowboys at Lions. Another primetime game, another Thursday game, back-to-back Thursdays for the Lions here. And this, following the reporting eligible controversy a few years ago, The Lions absolutely dominated the Cowboys last season, but it's a domination that no one really remembers because we only remember it as the game Aiden Hutchinson got hurt. So, yeah, don't repeat that at all. You can repeat the score. That'd be great. Repeat the score. Don't repeat that. Hopefully Hutchinson, please be okay. Week 15, Lions at Rams. The Lions have very narrowly escaped with wins each of the last two tilts against the Rams, one of those being a playoff game that they won by a single point, and then last year in overtime in the opening game of the season. This is going to be a bit of a tricky one. Matthew Stafford obviously going to sling it the rock around, will be another good test for the secondary, and this is the one that on the schedule, this is the most travel the Lions have to do. For as brutal as the road schedule is, the travel component is actually very lenient aside from traveling to California, so hopefully this trip to LA will go decently for Detroit. Week 16, Steelers at Lions. This is the most obvious trap game that has ever trap gamed ever. The Steelers are perpetually mediocre, but they are incapable of going below 500, so if you don't bring a good effort against them, they will find a way to win a messy, ugly game. So you are going to have to take care of business. Week 17, Lions at Vikings. This is the one that people are most upset about, especially the beat reporters in Detroit, because this game is on Christmas Day. So apologize to your families in advance because the Lions will play in the afternoon that day. Hopefully this game goes okay, but it should be a fantastic game. It's the penultimate game of the regular season, and it also should be a game that has potential division title implications. Week 18, Lions at Bears. Oh, the worst game on the schedule, just because who on earth wants to play a game in Chicago in January? That the weather is going to probably be horrible. The game conditions will be ugly and messy. The game will probably be ugly and messy. Hopefully by that point, there's nothing on the line. But man, don't love that. But anyways, that is the Detroit Lions 2025 schedule. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of the schedule and drop a record prediction. Oh, I should do that too, shouldn't I? Okay, let's go with this. I'm going to say that the Lions will go 11-6, as this is a rather brutal schedule, but that still puts them in play for the division and the playoffs, more importantly, because that is all that matters at the end of the day. They could win 12 or 13 games, but I would be truly shocked if they came close to repeating the 15 games they won last regular season. But as we've proven over the last 2 years, that winning in the regular season doesn't really mean much. It's all about the playoffs. But anyways, drop your record prediction down in the comments below, and now you can also comment on how bad you think mine was. We'll just have to wait and see. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Click like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you loved it, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.